joining today's webinar where we will focus on getting familiar with NHA's platform and website as a new administrative user. Here at NHA, we are fully invested in the success of you and your candidates. We take pride in doing what is right and are not afraid to use our voice if it moves the industry forward. We're here to help ensure that all of your learners, no matter their background or their needs, feels confident and empowered to complete their required learning or earn their accredited certification. During today's session, we're going to review NHA and the resources we provide. We'll walk through your access to the NHA website and how you can be fully enabled to run your program from there, and even do a live walkthrough before getting to Q&A. So also remember to stick around with us through the end so that you can be entered into those raffles. So let's do a brief introduction to NHA. Before we talk about us, though, I wanted to take a moment to get to know you. I'm going to launch a quick poll. What option most closely ties to your role with your institution? And then if you need to select other, will you please just put your role in the chat box? That way we can see. All right, we'll give 10 or 15 more seconds here. All right. Okay, Laura, do you want to go ahead and launch or show those results? Thanks. So as you can see there, pretty even numbers of a classroom educator and work directly with learners, or you'll be proctoring an NHA exam. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so now that we've seen a little bit about you, you should know that NHA is the largest frontline healthcare worker certification organization in the industry. We've got over 1 million certified candidates. We really are leading the industry, and we use the resources and information from our experiences and learning partners to create learning materials that widen their skills and abilities within the health field, and have shown to help candidates have a higher potential to earn their nationally accredited certification. Those resources come in many formats, starting with our nationally accredited certifications in 2 sections. 5 of the 8 certifications fall within the practitioner side of frontline healthcare, including medical assistant, phlebotomist, pharmacy technician, EKG, and patient care technician. There are also 3 certifications in an administrative capacity, which include billing and coding, medical administrative assistant, and e-health records. In addition, NHA develops comprehensive learning tools around key learning objectives for the healthcare professions we serve. These resources range from didactic learning in medical terminology or anatomy and physiology to the development of essential soft skills, as well as clinical skills for medical assistants, administrative assistants, and pharmacy technicians. So these can be used across the entire learner's journey and can be packaged together to provide a comprehensive learning experience from start to finish. So now that you've seen a little bit about NHA, let's talk about the possible resources in a little more in-depth. Before we do, though, I'm going to ask another quick question in a poll. That's going to pop on the screen any second now. I believe there it is. So what are you hoping to take away from today? Brand new and need to know everything. You want to just know what NHA provides and how it works, how to get learners started in materials, exam dates, or you're just very comfortable, and that's wonderful. But again, if it's other, please post it in the chat. This kind of helps us create content for future webinars. Appreciate your feedback there. All right, maybe a couple more seconds, and then we'll go ahead and end that and move on. So Okay, I think you can go ahead and end it. Let's share those results here. Okay. So yeah, you can see we've got all across the board. However, most of you are just kind of brand new and need to know everything. Wonderful. You've come to the right place. Alrighty, so you should all have already received a confirmation email from nhanow.com with a prompt to set up your administrative login. If you haven't seen this, make sure and check your spam box or your junk mail. This email will walk you through the first steps to set up your administrative login that you can access at nhanow.com. Once logged in, you really have access to almost everything you could need to manage your learners and account from the home screen. This is your dashboard. It's actually broken into two main categories. The center of the screen will provide you quick access to NHA's kind of supplemental resources. This first link here under the Get Started section will take you to test plans for all of NHA's 8 nationally accredited exams, and they're all available for you to download straight from this link. So this is an important area for you to know what NHA's exams will cover and to provide information to your candidates. We know that this is important for you both. Which leads me to call out some information around a study NHA completed recently from over 6,000 exam candidates across the country, and to try and uncover what the common themes are or what the biggest hurdles were for them to take their NHA exam. So out of all of those options listed, here comes another poll. Which do you think was the most common issue reported? They just don't meet exam eligibility requirements. They can't afford it. They don't see the value in it. It isn't required. Or test anxiety, low confidence to pass. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and end that. Thank you. Okay, so, all of these were things that were hurdles for students, but the most common issue reported was test anxiety and low confidence to pass. We know that that can be addressed through preparation. This is one of the many reasons why it is a best practice to get your candidates into their NHA accounts as soon as possible. We will be sending them welcome emails and information on preparing for their exams once they have their accounts created. So here on the screen, these are just some of the hundreds of comments from that survey that focused on uncertainty, not just around general anxiety, but not knowing if they're prepared. Have they learned all the things they need? And, worry about making it through the timed exam. Providing the exam test plans and NHA's resources or learning tools have really shown to make a positive impact in this regard. So going back to the other resources to help with all of this in your Get Started area, these will rotate throughout the calendar year just to provide you, they're just here to provide you, access to quick links around the first steps and frequently asked questions, as well as resources on testing or implementing NHA's materials. Okay, so if you scroll down a little bit there, it will show you some of the most used how-to resources, that will walk you through the administrative steps that you would need to manage your NHA account. And then right in this list, you'll see the recently upgraded Knowledge Center. This is a great spot. So this is where you can do an open search for any resources that you might need, or you can look through the 6 core areas of resources, including preparing learners to test, exam day troubleshooting, and supplemental implementation guides. Follow this option for exam guides and resources that you can download. You can download any of the information tools that you might need, specifically any of our learning resource implementation guides. So these guides, these implementation guides, are available to you, and they will outline the content, implementation suggestions, and even the average time that it should take for a candidate to navigate through the study materials. So on my screen here, you can see that, this is just a snapshot across 4 of our 8 certifications. You can see that the time it might take an average candidate to work through the study materials can really range widely. So just know that, and these guides are available for any of NHA's learning tools. Okay, so the Knowledge Center library of resources also has additional tools for you as well. Searching through this page will take you to video guides and PDFs to help you with the mechanics of the website, including setting up the learning content, providing access to candidates, opening exam dates, viewing reporting, and monitoring applications and exam results. There are even tools in there to share with your learners to help them through their preparation process. The NHA exam online study materials are based on the NHA test plan for that certification, and they include an interactive study guide, as well as a series of practice tests designed to look and feel just like the exam. This package also provides the NHA Focused Review, which is a personalized study feature to help candidates as they navigate through their practice tests. These should be assigned digitally to each candidate so that they can move through the materials on their own, as well as provide adequate reporting for both the whole group and the individual learner growth. So that focused review is a secondary tool, which is separate from the study guide, and it is specific to each practice test attempt. And it helps candidates focus further in on those areas that they may still be struggling in. So those learning tools are available for preparing for any of the NHA exams, okay? Everything we just walked through. Now let's review the other learning materials available from NHA. Starting with core learning, NHA has learning content focused on either anatomy and physiology or medical terminology. These address just the right amount of content for learners in entry-level roles through interactive and engaging online materials. NHA has a full pharmacy technician suite of materials that start with inherent learning on becoming a pharmacy technician through the Pharmacier. Though mapped to NHA's exam, it is designed to meet the ASHP didactic standards for learning in this critical role. We also have primary learning tools on medical math, dosage and calculations in the Pharmacier Math training program. There are skills developers for your medical assistants as well. Those include the MA Skills Builder Clinical and Clinical Plus. These provide an interactive learning experience to help develop and execute 39 clinical competencies that employers are needing in an entry-level medical assistant. And in the Clinical Plus, it also addresses the core foundational knowledge necessary behind those skills. NHA's Medical Administrative Assistant Skills Developer Program, the MA Administrative and Administrative Plus focus on the technical and job-ready knowledge to handle front and back office administrative responsibilities in skills development and core knowledge. Though we know that the clinical skills are essential, administrative duties are a large part of the MA's role. So these tools are applicable for your office administrative staff. Are additional skills developers or career laddering options that include providing upskilling in professionalism, starting with personability. So this is available in both the clinic or the pharmacy setting, and it uses online simulations and role play to develop abilities in teamwork, emotional intelligence, and communication. You can ladder further by leveraging principles of health coaching, which is another immersive learning tool with realistic scenarios to continue the learning in communication, but also population health management and motivational interviewing. If you are in a patient-centered care environment, any member of the care team could deepen their understanding of what it means to work in the quality versus quantity environment by using the assessment-based certificate program called team-based care. For all of NHA's core learning resources and for some of our exam materials, we also provide implementation toolkits that can include downloadable and editable PowerPoint presentations that are aligned to the core learning, optional lesson plans outlining the core content and suggestions for implementation, optional additional testing banks and resources to implement, additional activities to help scrub and polish the learning, walkthrough videos that are unique to that product content, and then also mapping resources to accreditations, textbooks, and test plans. In fact, we have mapping resources for our exam preparation resources too. Those are found near the implementation guides in the Knowledge Center, and they're called alignment guides. So these alignment guides are unique to the certification type, and they include an outline of the full test plan, identifying how many scored questions there will be on the exam in each domain. This will also map out where in the NHA study guide that content is covered, and if there are any additional resources within that learning content to help with the process, including like videos or games. It really is a wonderful and very helpful tool to use to align to your students' learning, as well as to review your program content to ensure there aren't any large gaps in the learning materials. And there's also a couple open columns at the end for you as well, so that you can, plug in where in your program, your book, your week, you're covering that core content. Okay, NHA has full program maps that you could use to implement any or all of these products and help, with the learner journey from start to finish. On the screen here is just one example from our medical assistant pathway, but we have many different versions of these. If you would like to know more about these, just reach out to your NHA representative. All right, so I know that was a lot. I wanted to just pause and take a moment. Have there been any major questions or anything that we should address? Anyone from my team, feel free to let me know.
Hi, Hannah, this is Mary. The only question that we had so far were the additional resources, were there charges that were affiliated with them?
Wonderful question. And were they referring to like the
med term and personability?
Oh, yep. Those are those do have a price associated with them, but we also have various kind of like bundles that can be purchased for the whole, kind of learning resource set. Anything else?
No, that was it for so far.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Okay. So like I said, I know that we just kind of covered a whole lot of information. That survey link that you'll get at the end of today's session, please be sure and note if you would like anyone to follow up with you directly on any of the resources that we just reviewed. Your NHA contact will be able to follow up with you and give you more information and answers. So now that we've seen your resources, let's talk about your access to the website and get into a live demonstration. So we reviewed the resource part of the dashboard, but the other portion of the NHA website is on the left-hand side of your navigation bar. This is where you can find your administrative shortcuts, from viewing your inventory and creating courses to pulling reports for your program and study materials, monitoring candidate applications and exam results, and then, depending on your role, adding or removing additional administrative users can also be done right from here. And then also viewing your exam calendar, creating test dates, and proctoring the exam. I know we've got a proctor on the call today. Fact, so right from here is where you can get your learners started with creating their personal logins. So you can invite them to set up their logins well before providing any learning resources through the account invitation feature right there from your home screen. This will help ensure that all is ready to go when it's time to start their studying. And as I mentioned earlier, it really is a best practice to get your learners set up with NHA as early as possible. Get their personalized accounts going. We really have seen that statistically, those who do are more likely to take their NHA certification and earn their certification exam, or take their certification exam and earn their certification. Alrighty, so let's get in now to a live walkthrough. Pull this onto the screen. If you can't see that, someone from my team just speak up, but I think it should be good. So this is just my demonstration account that I've logged into. I want to show you first, when you go to our website, again, nhanow.com, here's where you can find all of those resources that I just had screenshots of, webinars and events. NHA has a job board for students, so many great resources. But I really wanted to make sure you were aware of the Help Center. This is where you can go to find information on contacting us. You can find forms here. These are important to note, especially for that proctor that's joining us. If any of the exam candidates require a certain accommodation for testing, this is where they'll find their accommodations form. The form obviously goes into detail of the requirements around it, but just know that it can be found in the forms section of our website. Incident form, if something happens during the certification exam, high school graduation affidavit. I'll mention this later, but NHA does offer a provisional certification for high schoolers so that they can earn their certification prior to graduating. So forms section in the Help Center is really what I wanted to show you. And then technical requirements, right? A lot of this is quite interactive, and it might be a good idea to check into the technical requirements page just to make sure everything will run smoothly, and then good old FAQs. All right, then you log into your account. You're taken to this screen. Just a few things I want to point out. The first thing is that you will have this orange bar at the top of your screen that's prompting you to become a proctor. So again, for a proctor on the call, this is where you go to complete your proctor training. I can't make this bar go away, but I just wanted to point out, if you're not going to be proctoring exams, you don't have to complete the proctor training. Our accrediting body doesn't allow the direct instructors to proctor their own students, as I'm sure you can understand. But if you're not proctoring exams, you do not have to do that. Please also be aware of this little chat bubble down here that takes you to chat with our client care team. They're super helpful. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to them. And as I was showing, the information in these orange bars will change periodically. Here is that wonderful knowledge center. And then some of these tabs in the dashboard on the left. Let's look first in the prep materials section. For most of you on the phone, I suppose there are some institutions that might be set up differently, but for most of you, you'll be able to check your current exam prep or study material through the inventory tab. Okay, so this is live. There's no lag time here, but we just encourage you to check here before placing an order. or before getting your students access to their study materials, just to make sure you're using everything you have. The courses tab here, this is where the prep materials live, if you will. And essentially, a course has to be created that students then enroll in to access their materials. So two somewhat quick next steps that I'm going to show you are how to create a course and how to get students enrolled in the course. Okay, so to create a course, pretty easy first step. It's this new course button. We do encourage, and it's kind of a best practice recommendation, to have a new or a different course for each new or different cohort of learners. You're always going to start by titling it. You can title a course anything you want. You just can't ever reuse the same course title. So you might want to have some sort of a naming convention specific to that group of learners. You have the option to put a start and or end date here. That feature mostly just serves as a visual organizational aid for the main courses page. You add your course materials. So whatever materials you want in your course, just click this included in course yes button. Okay. Once you've got everything that you need, scroll all the way to the bottom and click create course. Then to get learners enrolled in the course, you'll first want to make sure you have the proper inventory loaded, as I just mentioned, but then you can click on the roster. You can click invite candidates, enter their email addresses. NHA will send them an email letting them know they were invited to join a course with a link to click. And it will first prompt them to create their NHA account, and then it will give them access to their course. And one other thing, you don't have to do this one by one if you've got a large group. The email addresses just need to be separated by a comma or a line break. All right, so then down the road, if your students are testing on site with you, as opposed to through a third party, your first step, or the first step that will need to be taken, is to add an exam date to the system. Again, this is just for if they're testing on site with you, not for if they're testing through a third party. Okay, so to add an exam date to the system, it's this request new exam tab, and you fill in the information. So you're always going to add the exam date. The application deadline date is also required. That's just that, when you want them to apply for the exam by, and it has to be at least 8 days prior to the exam date. Exam details, nothing's required there. Sometimes people will put, the location or the time of the exam. Depending on the way your institution is set up for billing, you may or may not need to add a purchase order number, but it's not required. Number of available computers, so we don't overbook. You select the exam type. Then from the moment you click request exam date up until that application deadline date, learners can apply for their exams. You can see a list of upcoming exams here through the upcoming exams tab. You can see them 30, 60, or 90 days out. But if you want to hone in a little more and see which learners have applied for which exam date, you can do that through the View Exam Applications tab. So here there'll be 2 boxes, one for third-party exams and one for on-site exams. As they apply for their exams, you'll see their names listed out here. So that will, make it so you don't have to check in with them. I think that's kind of all that I wanted to cover there. We can obviously revisit that at the end if there's questions. Let's go back here. Okay, so one of the biggest items that we actually haven't covered today is on reporting resources. So we will be holding additional webinars, some focusing on just these tools. So for now, you'll know that the moment a candidate accesses their study materials, no matter what the learning content is, reports begin to load. These include filterable tools downloadable PDFs, and deep analytics to provide you clarity in your learners' processes. NHA's Learning Insights Center has reports that highlight, among other things, progress through the modules, performance and assessments, and time spent in study. Again, today's webinar is not about that content, but we will hold others, so please keep an eye out for the upcoming events, and upcoming webinars for future sessions. Okay, so as a reminder, NHA wants you to be able to address your questions when they happen. So we've already reviewed the how-tos and knowledge center, but please know these self-guided resources are your first line of defense for both you and your students on what to do and the mechanics of how our resources and how our website work. There's tons of great stuff in there. So, you can use it throughout the program, including a best practices video to share with your students that are using their prep materials. If the answer you need isn't found there, then please use our client care team. They are that orange bubble, that live chat, and the help center phone line, and are available extended hours, but not 24 hours. This means that you and your students don't have to wait until your NHA contact is free to answer any questions that are urgent. This group of people really is incredible, and they're all located here in the US. Their goal is to answer your questions, and we'll stay on with you as long as you need. So please have some patience during peak call times. In addition, you have your NHA account representative. If you don't know who your personal contact is, please be sure to include an inquiry in that survey that we'll be posting soon. They're here to help with all other tools and resources and to ensure you have everything you need to be successful and empower your learners to earn their certifications. If you or your institution would like any additional training, either as a group or individually, your client executive, your direct contact, can connect you with my team, the client experience team, and we'll get you something scheduled. All right, you guys, one last. I hope you're still with me. We're going to launch a poll. I want to revisit our initial ask of the items that you were hoping to learn from today. So please, once that poll pops up, please select as many of the items that you now feel more confident in navigating for yourself. Comfortable with the NHA platform? This is exactly what I needed. You would like to learn more about NHA's other learning tools? Curious how to best use NHA materials in your class? Like to know more on NHA's reporting? Need additional help on proctoring or others? And again, for the others, please post them in the chat. All right, I think that's most of you. Thank you so much for that. All right, as you can see, we're all over. So yes, so glad that all of you are here. Thank you so much for all of that.
Can I just pop in with a
Yeah.
lot of what the ask there? I've posted a couple of things in the chat, but we do have a lot of webinars coming up this month to address a lot of the questions you just had. And we just held one that was called The Ultimate Guide to Making the Most of NHA Study Resources, which is really all about how to implement these materials in your classroom. So I've posted several links here in the chat that include updates for the CCMA exam, a reporting webinar this month. So please register for that if you have those questions. But then the resource center is that final link, and that's where you can see all of our upcoming as well as on demand. In addition, there is a proctoring webinar that I know we're going to be hosting in November. That's not yet live, I think, on the webpage, but I will post that also in the chat. So just copy these links and save them if these are things you guys would like to address, so you know that those resources are coming up for you pretty quick.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. And then as a reminder, if you just register for the webinar, you'll be sent the recording, whether or not you are able to attend or not. So,
but do try to attend. We like it when you actually show up, right? That's
we
always fun
want to
too.
hear from you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, you guys. So before we get to Q&A, I just wanted to reiterate that this has been recording. Anyone who registered for this session will receive the recording from today's webinar. If we can't or haven't addressed your question in the Q&A at the end of today, we'll be capturing all questions and we'll work hard to get back in touch with you directly for additional assistance. Also, I wanted to take a moment to make sure that you all know how thankful we are for you. I want to personally thank all of you for all that I know you're doing and for being here with me today. You all work incredibly hard, and not to mention all that's going on right now. We know that you are the true heroes. Every day you put yourselves out there, and I'm sure you're working crazy hours. So from all of us at NHA, thank you. All right, let's pop back to my team. Have there been any questions that need addressed live here?
We had one come in that I answered, but maybe others would be interested. Are there any printable materials that they can access for their first day?
Like their first day, like of class.
That's what I took it to be. And I
Yeah.
did reference the Knowledge Center and the educator implementation guides that they can download and print
Yep.
to assist them with managing through their prep materials. But maybe if they have other resources like MedTerm, the facilitator toolkit resources.
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you, Mary. So as Mary said, in the Knowledge Center, there are going to be downloadable and printable kind of how-to guides that you could use on the first day to get students going and get them, set up and everything. Depending on what resources you use, there are additional toolkits with additional kind of didactic content that also can be printed. So yes, there are resources depending on what product you're using. If anyone has anything else to add, feel free to come off mute. But yeah, that was a great one. Thanks, Mary. Is there anything else?
I don't have anything else at this time.
Okay, cool. I guess that's a good thing. All right. Well, we'll stick around for a minute just in case any other.
We want to, so we're going to post for those of you that might want one-on-one training or have additional questions. We've just posted 2 links, and we've gotten a lot of links today in the chat. Lauren just posted. If you remember, Hannah said in the beginning that if you fill out that first survey, you will be put into a raffle for a $50 gift card, but that's also where you can request additional follow-ups across any content, whether it's reporting or specifically to a particular product, or have your NHA representative follow up with you. So please copy that link and just open it in a browser. But that second link, that's a little bit more of an informational form about you, because we want to get to know you, your programs, what we can do more for you. And if you fill that one out, you will be put into a secondary raffle. So yes, you can do both, for a $500 gift card. So that's just so that's there. And Tiffany is just posted a question about marketing materials to market NHA, to market to potential students. Tiffany, that's a great request to ask from your NHA representative. We do have some kind of supplemental printables or resources, and they should be able to provide you things based off of what your needs are. So I would reach out to your NHA rep and see if they can provide you some supplemental content. Sorry, Hannah, didn't mean to step on your toes.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. All right. Well, I did open the chat and the Q&A, and I don't see anything else coming in. So thank you again so much for being here. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.